What's going on, Sneeples? Here we are again doing the playthrough videos. We have Rhinar and Bravo today. Unfortunately, not a lot of people playing Oldham and Talishars these days since he is going to be LL here very soon. So we'll have to make do with Bravo. But Bravo operates pretty similar to how Oldham was operating in the very end. And, like I said, he's LLing anyway, so maybe don't actually have to learn how to play against Oldham. But Bravo's getting some new cards this Dust Till Dawn season, so I think this would be a good matchup to explore and to learn from. And then Rhinar probably getting some new brute cards, and will probably work a little bit like Levia as well. So we'll get some good practice there as well. So let's get into them.
All right, so we're going against Bravo in this one, and Bravo is not a easy but not a hard matchup. It's kind of easy in the way that you're gonna really just be doing one thing, which is just kind of treating him like every other hero, except that he swings a little bit taller. But it's also could be hard in the fact that he can kind of just get rolling. Not as much as Azalea, though. He doesn't have as much disruption to us per se. Obviously, Crippling Crush is a big one, but it costs 11 to do so, so it's kind of hard for him to get that going all the time. Basically, what's happening in this against this Bravo matchup, and what we're going to see here, is we're just going to be exchanging blows, but our attacks are a lot cheaper. He paid 4 for this 8 attack. We're going to pay 3 for our wounding blow. But that dominate ability is how he's going to get damage through. So we'll just use the sync below here. We're going to hope that we draw something else, because pitching a Heart of Field to play a Wounded Bull is the ideal. Oh, right. Yeah, so we're sinking the Aether Ice Vein. The reason why is because we don't want to use Aether, or we don't want Aether Ice Vein in the arsenal. It doesn't do that much disruption against Bravo. A Cold Snap will. Looks like we were going to draw one even if we didn't sink, but that's whatever. It's fine. It'd been kind of cool if we drew a Winter's Bite here, so that's why we definitely went for the sink. But here, we gained our life back, so he only dealt 3 damage to us. And then we come in for 8. And looks like he's going to block. Okay. And there it is. And that's going to be the typical turns. We are running Encase in this because it does prevent Bravo from being able to not only tectonic playing, but also doing his ability. Now we're going to take advantage of him using tectonic playing here so that we can respond before he can actually use his arsenal. And we have, 2 resources left to deal 3 free damage most of the time. Alright, so it didn't seem like he needed to use his arsenal because he let it be frozen. And he's just going to come in for 6. But seeing that he pitched 2 reds, that was probably not his original plan. So we got the 3 free damage on him. And we're just going to block with these 2 cards because they'll block the 6 entirely. And then play the Encase, fuse it, and an Arsenal to Cold Snap. We do lose an Mirror Scolding here. And it's not the greatest loss. But even though he's representing AB3, we're probably not going to go to pitch stack. Well, I mean, we'll find out, and that can certainly still happen. But Bravo tends to just act as that like a aggressive go tall player. All right. So he chose not to do AB3 to prevent any of that damage. And that's because he wants his hand. So we're going to try to freeze his arsenal yet again. And this is from the Seismic Surge popping. So him playing or using tectonic plating gives us a window with those Seismic Surges. Now our hand isn't super ideal. So he's just going to come in with a Spinal Crush. Not enough to pummel us, so we don't have to worry about a pummel. So now we have some options here. We can block 5 and then come in for 7. We can block 4 and come in for 6. We don't get any of the life gain bonuses from the Fiendal Fighting Spirit, unfortunately. We can also just block 3, come in for 7, Arsenal 7. I think right here I'm pointing out that he can't do Pummel, so we're safe from that. We also have resources available for Ironhide Gauntlet, if we so needed to. Okay, so it looks like I'm choosing to block 3 and then come in for 7. Spinal Crush having Dominate is not, or Spinal Crush hitting and getting a crush effect isn't like doing anything to us. So we're fine with that. Alright, and now we're going to see if he has a blue in his hand to prevent this damage here. And he did. And it was a pummel. So the extra frostbite really came in handy there. Alright, so this allows us to come in with an efficient attack, gain a life from it, and then put another efficient attack in the arsenal. Alright, so we do take 1 card out of his hand, and we took one of his armor blocks there. You know, we're dealing a little bit less damage because of his Seek Belows and armor block, but that's okay. Seek Below is an interesting card to bring in against Iyslander because it feels good when I'm attacking, but I gotta imagine, like, in a hand like this, if I just came in with Aether Ice Vein, it'd feel bad. So the Winter's Bite doesn't do much against Bravo, and that's why I'm blocking with it here. The Aether Ice Vein is blocking for just some damage. He goes to Pummel, which is what we've been freezing up this whole time. Now, it's just on a hammer, so we don't even have to discard. We're just going to be taking a little bit more damage here. And I guess he figures that he's not going to get a better opportunity to use this Pummel here. So, but Pummel is definitely how a Guardian player can take on an Iyslander and win. So, that's what he's using here. I don't know if I would choose to play Insidious Chill over the Polar Blast, but there I did. And it might be for the reason to, because he has AB3, to try to always try to take cards. So I'm imagining I'm going to be playing the Insidious Chill here to get it out of the arsenal, and then blocking with the Ice Bolt or Frost X, if not both. My routes here is I can come in for 8. Well, I can't actually come in for 8. Oh, no, I would, because I would lose some life here. So I can come in for 8 on my turn. Or I could just arsenal it and just have better blocks. So we'll see what I make decision here. Now we can't pummel yet. I don't know. Oh, yeah. Okay, so by playing these Insidious Chill now, it does prevent pummel from being a thing. Because his pummel will cost 3 because of the frostbite. Sometimes this just happens in Telesure. So sometimes you just gotta type in a dot. And sometimes that refreshes your opponent's page as well. Okay, so it might have been just a refresher issue there. He's gonna come in for 9. And I am choosing to block just 3 and come in for 8. And basically we're just trading damage. Alright. Now I won't have any bit of disruption. But he also doesn't have any armor anymore. And so he either takes a full 8 here, or he gives me cards from his hand. If he takes a full 8, he goes to 15. And then he's 1 more attack away from being in kill range. Okay, so he's blocking with 2 red cards. This kind of suggests that he probably has a fairly red heavy hand. Oh, he's trying to buckle. Alright, so he's trying to get because of the buckling bow from the very first turn, he's trying to now kill my Stormstriders. I don't have a good Stormstrider's turn. So this could work out for him. So he's going to come in for 7 here. Now, I do have 7 block, right? I have my equipment, and a block 3 from hand. So we're okay. I won't have Coronet Peak, but Coronet Peak isn't as big in against Bravo as it is for other matchups. But yeah, definitely a close call on that one. He did sacrifice like a Command and Conquer pummel sort of turn to do it. Um, Understandable, because if it would have hit, that would have been very good. But at least now we have an attack. It's interesting that I chose to do. I mean, I like the Polar Blast over the Ice Turtle, but I definitely have Insidious Chill out, so it's interesting I chose to do that. All right, so now we're in this phase where we're chipping damage through, and now he just has 2 cards, no arsenal. He still chooses to use the Tectonic Plating, which is interesting. I'm gonna see what we draw here. I get at least 1 damage in through the Waning Moon, which is nice. Now, E-Strike is my savior here. E-Strike is probably what I'm going to be doing. It's just a matter of, do I want any of these cards in the arsenal? Because I can always just block with 2 cards, block out the hammer completely, and then E-Strike, draw a card. So I think I'm just trying to think if I want to put any of these cards in the arsenal, like a Command and Conquer in the arsenal. Or even in a case in the arsenal with the Insidious Chills. Okay, so it looks like I'm going to opt to just block with the Sink Below, just to block the 4 of the damage, only taking 2, so it's not the worst. And then coming in with an E-Strike with full power to force him to give me 2 cards yet again. Chip down to 18 here. I'm really thinking about some. Yeah, I think I'm just kind of going over the lines on like what I could be doing. Sink Below, choosing a sink. I could kind of actually see that, because if I got an ice card, I could go in case, which would have been actually really, really good. Because I would have been able to see his chill trigger and threaten to take away this stuff. But not the case. But we do get some damage in. We don't have disruption. Now, Command Conquer is coming in. Now, luckily, we're not looking at a pummel, because he just doesn't have the resources to afford it. So all I gotta do is block 6 here. I would imagine the Channeling Frigid and the Yellow Aether Vein. Okay, yeah, that seems to be what I'm trying to do here. And the reason is Channeling Frigid just isn't that good against Bravo. He's only come in with 1 attack, and sometimes he'll only do 1 thing. So he'll just have an extra tax of like 1. And Channeling Frigid, in order for you to really get value out of that, like you really want quite a bit of extra tax with it. Like you want at least 2 extra attacks. Alright. So we'll see if he takes the damage here. He discarded a Sink Below, so that is a spot where he didn't want Sink Below. And then he blocked it all out. So now I'm going to try to sneak in 2 damage. Alright. And now he's going to come in for 4 at max. Just goes to Arsenal. Can't do anything to him. But now we're so in the driver's seat. Coming in for 5 and then 2 more. And then we can even put an Ice Belt in the Arsenal. So we're getting 2 damage off this for sure, because he only has AP3. And then we'll see if we can get 1 more damage with the Waning Moon. Okay, so There's no point in pitching for the Waning Moon since he has 2 resources up. So could just pass here because those are good ice cards. They all block for 3, so we like it. And since Tunic's on 3, I like putting the Ice Bolt in the arsenal over the Aether Hail. Plus, he only has 1 card, right? So he can choose to arsenal it. If he does, okay. If he comes to attack, then he's open, and we can really get a lot of damage in at least 5 damage in, putting down to 6. And this is where we are really just taking over the turn. So Insidious Shield has allowed us to do that. That's why it wasn't the worst thing, choosing to play it or put it in the arsenal over a Polar Blast, because it does pay dividends at the end. And a opponent like Bravo, which is a bit slower, tends you can have those times where you're allowed to play it, and it's not going to be so devastating. Okay, so he just concedes here, and the reason is because we were in a very good spot. We weren't even at like the same life total where he could threaten lethal. Obviously we would probably put the Ice Ball in, and then if he chose to Arsenal, then he'd probably have to pitch for the Ice Ball, and then we get 3 more damage in with the Waning Moon, so he's down to 8. And yeah, it's just turn after turn. We get to do, in case, to do another Insidious Chill, and yeah. So more than likely the game was ours, so understandable that he decided to concede here. And yeah, that's how we kind of took it over. Our attacks just are more efficient, so we can devote less cards to put out a big attack. And then we're just doing the tax effect, and it works out. Okay. All right, let's move on to Rhinar. So a little bit of a late recording on the Rhinar. Didn't hit record until after the game started, but nothing has happened yet. So let's talk about Rhinar. Rhinar can be tricky for sure because the Intimidate is something that is real and can really put disruption on us. So I have some choices here. Obviously, the Sink Below is a clean block, but having a Sink Below in the arsenal isn't the worst thing either. Rhinar can often comes in and try to intimidate our hand away, and basically have it where he gets these huge palm sellers. You can block 2 cards, and if you have a Sink Below in the arsenal, that could be your lifesaver. If you have 1 card in hand, 1 Sink Below. But if we can use Sink Below to block it clean, then we should do that. Okay, this is one of those weird Talishard looking hands where you get 3 copies of a card. But a pretty good one to have because we're dealing 3 Arcane and presenting 3 Frostbites. Now, Rhinar can Pager that. It's not the worst thing for him. He too has cheap attacks like Swing Big. But, 3 Frostbites is no joke. And he also has to determine if he can prevent the 3 damage from Ice Eternal here. So he says just going to prevent 1. And I imagine he'll still come in with an attack. Which, yeah, there's the Swing Big. Yep. So it's a very cheap attack that he's able to just pitch pretty cleanly for. So there's not much point in playing the Ice Bolt right now. It's better just to block with 2 cards and then just come in with an attack. Seeing that he's going to have an arsenal, I choose to come in with the Command and Conquer over the E-Strike so that I can threaten that arsenal. I can be a bit disruptive towards him. Honestly, Rhinar scares me. It's as far as the match goes, it's very winnable. It's not like it's unwinnable. Obviously, you have better odds in a Rhinar than you do into Lexi. You could certainly still beat Lexi, but Rhinar isn't too problematic as long as he doesn't get problematic. And what I mean by that is as long as he's not intimidating the right cards out of your hand, as long as he's just not getting lucky with his Scabskin letter rolls. But if those things are happening, yeah, this could be troublesome. So him using his Tunic here kind of tells me he's a little bit resource starved.
So I'm going to try to take advantage of this and pitch a card to hopefully mitigate the big damages on this turn. Maybe even get in some arcane. So we got 3 arcane with that. We can't follow it up with a waning moon, unfortunately, but okay, that's pretty good. So he had a pitch a blood rush medal, so that's pretty good for us. And actually, pretty lucky for us is that the Mirror Scolding got intimidated, because that was the card I'd want to put in the arsenal. So that actually worked out pretty well. I could choose to block with Sink Below and Brain Freeze to block it out, or I could just block Sink Below, use the Coronet Peak using Brain Freeze, and then arsenal the Mirror Scolding. I'm kind of surprised he didn't try to do the Scabskin Leathers. Alright, so the reason why I chose to do it this way. Okay, actually I do like what I did there, because now I think the Polar Blast is actually more disruptive and I get free damage in. So I actually like to do it that way. But the reason why I chose not to full block is because he was going to have a 5-card hand, and I want to provide some disruption to that 5-card hand. So he's running Scabskin Letters now. So I decided just to use the Polar Blast. Polar Blast is kind of free because it lets you just draw a card. Alright, so he just does one thing to us. I mean, he only had 1 action point to begin with, so that was fine. He was just going to try to Savage Feast, basically. Alright, pitches are blue. So I think we're just going to block here, and then... Let's see, that won't work, because ideally, if we could get below him on life, we can go Scar for Scar, Vandal's Fine Spirit. But I don't think that's going to work unless we take the full damage, which is what I'm opting to do here. Just so I can get it in. And I guess in this way, what happens is now I can put the Aether Ice Vein in the arsenal, the red one. Alright, so this kind of worked out just because I'm also still going to gain a life from this as well. Give me some armor here, and it's probably it, because he probably only won that blocked with 1 card. Okay, we get 2 cards. So the hope here is that by doing a 2-attack turn like that, he won't be able to come in very big. This is pretty good, especially with the hand I have, just because my hand doesn't block that very well. I have a 3 block in hand and only 1 of them. So I can't save the Aether Ice Vein, so I just let it go, just so I can provide the same turn again and hope that I can get some more damage chipped in. My damage is more efficient than his when I'm doing this. 0 for 4s and 3 for 7s are more efficient than Rhinar's, other than his Swing Big. He just accidentally clicked the spacebar too quick. And we have Sink Below in the arsenal, which isn't the worst, especially when he's trying to keep a 5-card hand. So this is probably a Blood Rush Battle hand. Okay, Tear Limb from Limb, which is very, very risky and interesting. Gets our Channeling Frigid out. And then there's a Swing Big for 16. So that was by far the best thing he could hope for with a Tear Limb from Limb. And this is the Rhinar stuff I'm kind of talking about. So we could block 10 at least, and then come in with Easter Egg, drawing a card. But like, godly, yeah, that went sour real quick. And that's Rhinar for you. And the thing is that Tear Limb from Limb is a random discard, so it's a little unfortunate that we didn't get lucky there and he did. But that's Rhinar, you know. That's what to expect. Alright, Barrage and Beatdown. This is as good of an opportunity as they need to provide a Frostbite for disruption. Chose not to use the Tunic either, so.
Alright, come at the club. So we're going to have to block with 2 cards in order to decrease the club's potential. I'm curious what I want to do here. He's at 13 health. So if I take 4, I go to 12, and then I provide 4 into 8. That could be pretty big. Even if it's only 4 into 7, that's pretty big. So I think there's a real risk to be had to just block with just 3 instead of full blocking the club. So I just take the 7. Okay, so I see why. Because now I'm going to come in for 4. If he doesn't block, then I'll only come in for 7. But if he does block, I'll come in for 8. Alright, so now he goes to 9. And so here's the reason why I chose not to block. Is because Aether Hail becomes a lot more effective when he's in the single digits. And this turn, or that hand, kind of basically ensures that he'll go to the single digits. So now Rhinar's in a tough spot. He's out of armor to block with other than his tunic. And now he's going to have to really start giving me cards from hand, because if he let 4 damage go through, it could be the end of him, right? We just don't know. And that's what he's going to choose to do here. So, Rhinar gets... Now, this is interesting here, because it's a red barrage and beatdown. So, I can go for it now, and then hope that, by threatening lethal, I can make this red barrage and beatdown not a factor. The idea is take cards out of his hands. But because of his tunic, he can actually prevent that from happening. Okay, so he does give us a card. We'll go ahead and try to get some more damage in. We had the resources remaining, and we have a tunic to use for an Ironhide Gauntlet if needed. I'm thinking he'll probably go to 4 and just swing the club. But actually because the club only costs 2 to swing. Okay. Yeah, it's this is where it gets a little tricky, and I definitely played riskier than I normally do against any other hero. But because Rhinar is just such a risky sort of hero, that's why we're doing it. Okay, so could be potentially in huge amount of trouble here. I only have 1 card in hand. I do have a full set of armor, and luckily he can only come in for 11. So we can block the full, or not block full 11. I wish we could block full 11. We could block 6. And we could even, I guess we could block 4, take 7, go to 2. That gets risky because of Reckless Swing. So, but at this point, I am just trying to deal arcane damage. So, that's fine. I guess I'm just trying to keep the Coronet Peak for something else. Oh, to use. Right. Yeah, that makes sense, actually. That makes sense. I still want to provide disruption, because now that I'm at such a low life, this could get really bad really quick. So again here, playing a little bit more risky and aggressive than I would against other heroes. Alright, so now this is... Okay, yeah. This is probably the turn where we can kill him. Start off the Cold Snap just to see what we can draw into and see how he responds. And at this point, using the Waning Moon, there's no pressure to us. Alright, we see everything now. So now we know that the red Aether Vein will for sure kill, and we get the game. Yep. So, definitely a different playstyle, definitely a more risky playstyle, a playstyle that worked for sure. Okay. Yeah, why not? Let's get a bonus round in. We can... He asked for a rematch. We can do a quick rematch. It's another 10-minute game. Looks to be. So hopefully it won't be too long here. And we can see if playing risky is the way to do it. I believe I win this one as well. Alright, so he's just coming on with full damage here. There's really not much reason for me to take any sort of damage. So I might as well just block. The red Aether Ice Fade, sure, but like there's hands that like this that it just wouldn't work. All right, just coming in for 8, and then yeah, probably just putting the Wounded Bull in the arsenal. As you can see, we're going a lot quicker. I think the Rhinar player is trying a different strat. Just try to really just come in with as much damage as possible. Here again, I have to go again into the big turn, so that's what we're going to go for. I don't need to use the Sneak Below. It would prevent the damage, but it's just not as necessary. We only saw one Blood Rush battle in that last game, so we'll see if we could see some more. That's definitely when Rhinar could take the lead. We did see a tear limb from limb and him coming in for 16, so that was pretty gnarly. But yeah, we'll see if we see any Blood Rush battles this game. I don't remember. Gaining 1 life, coming in for 8, taking all the damage here. So this would seem like it'd be a Blood Rush battle sort of turn. But it's another tear limb from limb. Let's see what happens on this one. He's going to roll. He gets it. Rolls a 5. And then now he's a swing big. I'm not sure why he rolled, to be honest. But yeah, there it is. So swing big for 20. Yet again, hits the swing big, which is absolutely insane. Now, luckily, we can decrease some of it because we get to block with 2 cards. So 16, but like still, so it's like, holy shit. Okay, yep, the Tunic, that's right. That's why you Rompy Club now. So that's why you wanted the extra action point. Comes in for 5. As you can see, that's a ridiculously big turn. That sucks. But we come in for our own, 4 into 5 draw a card. Isn't the worst either. And then we get into his range again, and we get the Sneak Below to get put in the arsenal, so that's nice. Alright. So, he had a very big red heavy hand. So, unfortunately, we can't do anything. Oh, interesting. He went back. Something happened. But yeah, with having just a Sneak Below in hand, we couldn't do anything, unfortunately. Or in the arsenal, I should say. Yeah, okay. So you put that in. Alright. Now we get to Aether Ice Fade. Because we have an opening, so we might as well take it. Setup in a City Chill against Rhinar is pretty risky. It's not like Bravo, where he's... Like, Bravo's more predictable. Rhinar's not. And there's the Blood Rush Battle turn. So we're going to see what this takes us. Kind of probably would have wanted to block with that card. I think the only thing I could do with this hand is try to play Command Conquer or something. So this is his only attack. So what we're probably trying to do is just block with the Aether Ice Fade, and then the Sink Below, and then sinking the Aether Ice Fade in our hand. Okay, so it's a blue. So now we can choose to come in for 7 and arsenal the Command Conquer, or we come in Command Conquer now because honestly, a lot of times he won't have an arsenal. So might as well throw in the arsenal while he has it. Okay, so we get the 2 cards out. So mission success. So this shouldn't be as big, but yeah, it's an Alpha Rampage, so it's pretty big. So yeah, we're just going to be blocking with 2 cards here. And this time, since he has no arsenal to threaten, we'll just come in for 7 and gain a life. Alright, and now he's out of armor block. Come with the clubs. Going to keep the arsenal. What we can do is we can block here. And then, I'm not sure why I chose to block the Mirror to Scolding over the... Oh, you know what? I could Winter's Bite here, actually. I can kind of see that. Let's see what happens here. So, Scar for 4. I guess it really kind of depends on how he chooses to block. If he chooses to do no block here, I would probably really consider Winter's Bite. But he chose to do a block. So instead I'm going to do Command and Conquer. That takes away those. Alright. So here Emeritus Holding would have been better. But yeah, I might not even have to use the Ice Bolt here. I could just block with 2 cards and come in with the Fiendo's Fighting Spirit. I understand the Ice Bolt over the Emeritus Scolding just for the Frostbite potential to disrupt, but yeah, probably where we were, the Emeritus Scolding would have been a little bit better. Getting down to 14, and then I'm just taking the 4 here, so I'll go down 12. And that's because I want to put the Cold Snap in the arsenal. And I also gain a life, so I only really took 3 from that Romping Club, and it wasn't so bad. So he took the full 7, which really tells me this is probably a Blood Rush Spell turn. Yeah, I think we're just going to use this now to threaten to freeze that arsenal. Okay, so we don't have to worry about that card. Okay, nope, he wants that to be undone. So he's going to have to pay to keep it. So that kind of tells me a little bit there. Okay, so yeah, he's really going all out here. I was trying to see if there's like a way we can possibly kill him, but I don't think so. So this is getting obviously extremely scary. And this is why I didn't Waning Moon, because I might just have to use the Ironhide Gauntlets here. Actually, I might not. I mean, I'll be quite alive, and then I could deal 3 to him potentially. It depends if he has a blue in hand or not. Yeah, so here I just take 8, and I go to 5. And it sets me up pretty well, because now I'm coming in for 7, after, like, possibly putting him down to 4. We'll see. Yeah. So I come in for lethal. The question is, do I put the Aether Ice Vein or just Sink Below in? Okay. I kind of don't mind what I did there. Sink Below is pretty good. Okay, so he blocks the full 7 out. Glad he blocked the Command Conquer. Okay. So I'm feeling pretty good about that Sink Below here. I could potentially instant speed kill him, but just with him having resources up, I don't think that's really something that can happen. I'm probably sweating a little bit, especially because I can't use Ironhide Gauntlets. Luckily, he only rolled a 3, so I didn't have to worry about an additional attack here. Alright, now also, what's really lucky is that I had the Sink Below in, and so I can prevent the +3. So it will go down by 3, and I'll block a good amount of it up. I think I'll end up just taking 1. Yeah. Which is hella nice. So, coming in with the Aether Hill to basically do 2 and 2 with the Waning Moon, and then I put a Emeritus Scolding in the arsenal, and we are really chilling at that point. We're not feeling as forced. There's no reason for me to do it here, so I don't. Roll this a 3 again. He has the glove, so he can't reroll, which also means that he could just die. Okay, and he just decides to give it up. Must have had like an all red hand or something bad or something. I'm not sure exactly what. Tries with the clubs. Okay, well that is the Rhinar deck tech or deck matchup gameplay. Both Rhinar and Bravo are go tall heroes. Rhinar's a bit weirder because he could just do stuff. All right, guys, just want to wrap things up with saying thanks for watching. Hope this learned a little bit. Feel free to ask any questions in the comments. Even make any critiques. I'm always open for that. I'm learning from you guys just as much as you guys are learning from me.
And yeah, let me know if there's a matchup that you haven't seen me play yet that you really want to see. I know Dromai is a pretty big one. I haven't really been able to get a Dromai on Dalashar quite yet, but if there's any other matchups that you guys really want to learn and really want to see, let me know. And I can make an additional video to this series. So not a problem at all. But yeah, leave any questions, comments. I'll get back to them as soon as possible. But again, just thanks for watching, guys.